All right, so our goal for today is to make a full song, EDM song in Studio One Pro 7 in 30 minutes or less. That's the task. And so I'm going to make this as follow along as possible. So for those of you who are new to music production and maybe you don't know how to play a MIDI keyboard or know how to play an instrument at all, I'm only going to be using samples and I'm only going to be using stock plugins in Studio One. And so our goal with this and our mantra for this whole thing is to approach this from a standpoint of just getting it done and not getting it perfect. The biggest obstacle to putting out songs and getting them actually published is perfectionism and trying to get everything to sound too perfect. So we are going to crush that, and we are not going to focus on perfectionism, and we are just going to try to get an EDM song done. It's probably going to be a house song just because that's what I like. So let's get into it. I think you're going to like this. I'm going to make this as follow along as possible. So here we are in a track. All I did is open a new track, and we are going to set a timer for 30 minutes, and we're going to see what we can get done. I have not pre-done this, so I do not know how this is going to sound. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this in 30 minutes or less, but we are going to try our damnedest to make this happen. All right, so here we go, and I'm going to explain everything as we go. So let's start this, and let's get going. All right, we need to get going right away. So let's see, let's set a tempo here. So I know I want like a boom, boom, boom. That's sort of the beat that I want. So what I'm going to do is go down to this tempo, and I'm going to click it repeatedly to the beat that's in my head. Boom, 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 boom. All right, 120. That's actually a little slow for house, so I'm going to bump that up to 124 roughly. Okay, so we have that. Now we need a kick, and I need to move fast. So we're going to go to splice here, and we are going to hit instrument and kick. Now I pay for a splice plan, but I know that Studio One includes a lot of splice samples, so just use what you have available. You may not be able to use some of the sounds that I use unless you subscribe to Splice, but that is okay. Just use something, all right? So we are going to click instruments, or no, we already have kick, we're good. So we need a kick, and we don't want a loop, we want a one shot. So a one shot just means that it's the kick played once, and a loop means that it loops. It's like multiple kicks in a row. We want a one shot, and so I'm gonna click random here because I don't always want the most popular. I want random because I don't want something that everyone else uses. So let's scroll through and I'll find something I like. I like it, we're gonna go for it. So we're gonna use this. Now how did I arrive at that decision? It just sounded decent, and that's what we need. We just need decent. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold down, as I'm gonna click this, and I'm gonna press D, and that's gonna duplicate it, but that's not where I want it, so I'm gonna drag it to this beat grid here. We want 4 kicks for every bar here. So now I'm gonna highlight these, I'm gonna hold down Alt, or I think Option on a Mac, and then drag these, and that'll copy them over, okay? So now we have 4 kicks in a row. We are now gonna lower the volume of this because it's way too loud. We're gonna just scroll down until it's 12.5. This is our mixer here. So this coordinates with that, okay? And we're gonna label this as kick. There we go, and let's hear it. All right, there we go, we have our kick. And what we're gonna do is highlight that and press D, although it keeps moving forward a measure, I don't love that. And we're just gonna do this several times here and drag this over. This is not the most efficient thing in the world, but that is okay. And I think what we'll do is do this. We'll do our Alt click or Option click on Mac, and what we want is 8 measures, which is what we have, okay? And so now we have this. Great, now we need a clap. Let's go, let's go. Clap, clap, clap. So we're gonna go to home, and we're going to go clap. Same thing, I'm gonna randomize, just use what you have available, and I'm gonna scroll through. We want a one shot. Okay, nope. Sure, we'll go with that. All right, so we're gonna drag that. I'm gonna lower the volume of this so it's not so loud in your ears. All right, now we want the snare on every second and fourth beat of each of these measures here. So we're going to drag this to here, which is the second beat, all right, and then the fourth, which is that. All right, so now it sounds like this. Way too loud. We're going to scroll that down to, or drag that slider to 12.5. There we go. All right, now we're going to double click that, or we're going to click and drag so that those are highlighted, and we're going to hit D so that moves those to there, and we're going to just keep pressing D. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, now we have our 8 measures. Okay, so we have that. Snare's a little loud. I'm going to lower it. There we go. Okay, now we need a hat. So let's go home. Hat. Random. And one shot. What do we got? There we go. Let's go with that. So we're going to drag that in. Now hi-hats usually go on the offbeat. So if I'm going to click this and drag it down, so I'm scrolling in, all right? So I'm looking here, and now you can actually see the individual beats here. Well, these go on the offbeat. So this is like do-da, do-da, so the offbeat. So this goes in between the 1 and the 1.2. So it goes right there. I'm going to take the volume down to 12.5, all right? And then it's going to go on every offbeat. So it's going to go here. And now we're good to just press D and keep pressing D until we get it all done. There we go. All right, let's hear what we sounds like. All right, there we go. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Now we need like a bass. All right, so let's go and try to find like a cool bass groove. So let's, this time I'm gonna hit instruments, and I'm going to hit, where's bass? Do we have bass? All right, shocking, I don't see bass on there. So we're just gonna type in bass. Oh, that's because it's one shot. There's no such thing as a one shot bass. And so now we should have bass somewhere in here, and we still don't, I don't know why, so I'm just gonna type in bass. This we do want a loop. So we want something that's playing. And so I'm gonna do random, and let's just see what we hear. Now what we can do, this volume's still really loud, I'm gonna lower that, is I'm going to loop this, and I'm gonna play some of these basses over the track. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on these are like measure markers here. I'm gonna hit Control click on the 1, and then I'm gonna do Alt click or Option click on a Mac on 5, and you can see that we now have 4 measures that are highlighted within these measure markers. I'm gonna hit the / on the keyboard. It now turns blue. You can also just click this here. And then we're gonna play this, and then we'll be able to loop this as we go. So let's do that. And then we'll play these. No. Nope. Let's pick the genre and do house. Not liking these so far. That's it, that's what I want. We're gonna go with that. So we're gonna click and drag it. That's way loud. And let's listen to it. We're gonna go with that, that sounds good. And I'm just gonna click the end of this and then drag it in, because we just want this part. And it should loop okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna solo this just to make sure. And it does clip a little bit when it loops. you can hear like a little click. So what we're gonna do is go up to the top right corner, and then we're gonna click that little circle, hold it, and then drag it to the left a little bit. And what it does, if I zoom in, so if I hit Control and then mouse wheel up, nope. If I do Control Shift and mouse wheel up, you can see we've added a little fade in. I'm gonna do Control Shift, mouse wheel out, and now we're back. Or you can always just click and drag that down and up to zoom in and out. Okay, we have about 20 minutes. We really need to get Hall in here. So the clicking should go away. There we go. No clicking anymore. All right, so now with the context, let's hear it. All right, I want this to have a little more oomph, so what I'm going to do is add a fat channel. All right, so what I'm doing, so this is the insert, so this is where you add effects. So you hit a plus, and then I'm gonna type in fat, and I'm gonna hit this. This is a Studio One effect. We're gonna hit compressor. We're gonna turn it on. We're gonna click the drop down. We're gonna go to tube. And don't worry about how this works. We're just getting it to what we want it to do. And we're gonna play it. And we're gonna raise this knob until this needle starts kind of going in this direction. All right, so what it does is it's compressing the volume of the signal, but we don't want it to make it quieter. We want it to make it louder and fuller. So right now it's lowering it by 7. So we're gonna raise it by 7, roughly. All right, don't worry too much about how that works. All right, we're getting somewhere. So we can loop that, and now we are in business here. I'm gonna highlight and delete these because I have an extra measure here I don't need. And actually, I think what I might do now that I'm looking at this, I'm gonna click and delete that and drag this out because this actually is a full 8 measures here. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that whole thing since we have it. All right. All right, I think we should add like a shaker. That's a pretty common thing. And so let's do that. So I'm gonna type in shaker and I'm gonna go to random. Nope. Nope. We want it to be a loop. Let's try that. All right, we'll click and drag. We're going to lower this to 12. Note I'm always lowering this to 12.5 because otherwise it'll be too loud and it'll peak. If you noticed at some point there was a red little thing that I clicked here. That meant that it was peaking. We don't want that. All right, click this and duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Lower the volume. It sounds a little too brash on the high end, so I'm gonna add something to make that less prominent. So I'm gonna add an effect, insert plus EQ, and I'm gonna click Pro EQ. Again, don't worry too much about how this works. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna click this button down here, and then drag this knob down. So what this does, this is an EQ. So this carves out frequencies. So we got low frequencies like bass here, and then we have high frequencies here. So if I solo this, click the S, and let's hit that / to loop. So it's blue. We're gonna do this, and I'm gonna change this, and you're gonna hear how it alters the sound. So it takes out the high end a little bit. I'm gonna lower it a little bit, so it takes out the brash high end, and here we go. I like that better. Let's see if we can get like a vocal in here. And we'll do a loop, and yeah, random, and let's just see what we have. Too airy. Nope. I got a crush on you. Yep, let's do that. That sounds like we could work with that. Although it's 145. So you got to pay attention to the tempos sometimes. And you can slow down the tempo, but sometimes it'll sound bad if you alter it too much. So let's try this. Nope. You know what? Fuck it. Let's try it. We'll drag this over and just see how it sounds. And we'll lower the volume. 12.5.
I got a crush on you.
Yep, I like it. We'll keep scrolling it down. It's a little loud. All right, so we'll do that. And I don't actually love the lyrics, but it's fine. It's a little cheesy. Now, we need to start focusing on structure because we're about halfway through, but I want, I need more. All right, so let's get like a synth or something. I'm hearing like a dun, dun, something like a synth stab or something. So we're gonna type in synth, and just see what happens. I don't think that'll work. All right, I don't like this. So I'm gonna go home, instruments, and let's do stabs. And let's see what we get. We're gonna go to random. Yeah, let's use that. And what I'm hearing is like a boom bump, almost like what the hi-hat does, where the hi-hat kind of goes on the offbeat. So we're going to, again, lower the volume to about 12.5, actually maybe even 15 because we want it a little quieter. Click and drag to scroll, and I want boom bump. I'm gonna mute the vocals for now because they're kind of getting in the way. Yeah, I like that. And then we'll click Alt and hold and drag. Oop, I guess it would help if I got rid of that. Click and drag that. So we want it on the offbeat of each of these bars here. All right, and we'll do that, and then we'll click, hold, and then we'll click D to duplicate, and we'll do all of them at D to duplicate, and now we have this here. So I'm hearing like a boom bump, dun. So meaning like, we'll do that, and then here. And you'll hear what this sounds like. So this isn't, this isn't on the offbeat for an eighth note. This is the offbeat for a 16th note. So you'll hear the difference, all right? Yeah, there we go. And I actually like that, but I don't like it for every one. So I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna alternate it so it goes on each other one. I'm gonna highlight those, backspace, delete, and I'm gonna hit D. So now we have this. Quieter. All right, there we go. We're good there, and we need to start adding some structure here. We're gonna have to roll with this for now. Done is better than perfect. So I'm gonna highlight all of this, and I'm going to hit, what am I gonna hit? Actually, I'm just gonna click and drag it to 9. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna click this, all right? And then we're gonna hit Arranger. And what this does is this allows us to break off sections. So I'm gonna double click in here, and we're gonna drag this over to 9. What that means is we're gonna have an 8-bar intro, all right, and build. Now, this doesn't actually do anything to the song per se, it just kind of helps us out. So I think we're gonna start right away with kick, snare, and hats. Now, I've done a bad job at labeling. We're not even gonna worry about that, but you should always label your tracks, but I don't have time. All right, this is what we're going to start with, and then we are going to also add these chords in, all right, the little stabs. So we're gonna drag that over, making sure it goes in the right spot. So I'm gonna click and drag here, and it's actually a little bit too early, so I'm going to drag it over one. Now, this could use some reverb, so I'm going to click this. This is the synth stab track. This corresponds with this. So I'm going to click the plus, and I'm going to add, I'm just going to type in reverb. And so we're going to do room reverb, and let's see how that sounds. All right, the mix is a little too much. We're going to drag that down. That's like how much reverb you're going to hear. Let's actually solo this, clicking that S. And we're going to lower this length down to 2, or somewhere around there. That sounds better. And we're going to it's still too much. Let's lower the mix. There we go. All right, and then we need to do something with these vocals. Let's just see how it sounds if these come in like halfway through. Gotta unmute it first. They're a little like too intense right now, but they'll sound good for like the chorus or the drop. So what we're gonna do is quickly add a kind of this similar method that we did here, where we're gonna lower some of the higher frequencies. So we're gonna click plus on the vocals here and do EQ, add an EQ. And then we're gonna hit high cut. We're gonna turn this. This is like how sharp the curve is. And then we're gonna lower it down to maybe here. Let's hear how that sounds. Yeah, even more maybe. Yeah, not bad. It's fine. I don't love it, but for our sake, it'll work. All right. And I think what we're going to do is chop this up a little bit, because I think it's just too much to have a whole phrase going. So we're going to click and drag that and see what this is. Yeah, okay, let's do that. And we're going to add a little more reverb on it. So we're going to hit plus on this vocal track here, and then we're going to add some room reverb. And we're going to crank this mix down to about 8, and then probably lower the length to about 2. Yeah, something like that. And I know exactly what we're going to do. All right, I'm just going to drag this out of the way a little bit. This is going to be a very short intro. And what we're going to do is keep looping this. So it sounds like this. And then here at the last measure, we're going to cut everything out and then have the whole thing play. And then it's going to drop into the drop. Okay. And then we're going to make sure you select all of this, Alt, click, drag, or you probably could have just pressed D as well. Oh, wrong one. We want to actually start at 9. We want this to be silent, all right? Let's hear what this sounds like from the top. Oh, we're running out of time. Gonna make this a little louder. Now we need this to go, we need this high cut to go, or I'm sorry, we need this to go back up when we get here, because we don't want it to be muffled here. So this is gonna be a little advanced, but just hang in there, you can do this, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit this here, we're gonna click this button here, the frequency, we are going to automate it, so to raise up. So if you notice, when I clicked this little thing pops up, high cut frequency. We're gonna click this hand and we are gonna drag it right on top of the track. And then we're going to click the little line that's here, all right? So this line shows us where this knob is basically turned to. And so we want we're gonna do one here, and then we are gonna do, I'm gonna click and zoom in, and then we're gonna kind of click on one beat before, and we're gonna drag this up. So you can see, if I click on this, the frequency knob is here, and then as it plays, it'll shift up into this. I'll play it, you'll see it.
I got a crush on you.
There we go. Something like that, all right? And then we want a little bit of a fill going into this. So all I'm going to do is get the, we're gonna take this clap, and we are going to go to this beat, and we're gonna do just a da-da, you'll hear it.
I got a crush on you.
And I'm dragging this over. It's in the wrong spot though, so I gotta drag it over. All right, and this is sounding okay. Now, really, we just have to structure this now. So what we're gonna do, right now, I need to be able to move this track, but I can't right now because it's showing me that automation. So I'm gonna hit A, and that's gonna show this again. You can always press A again, and it'll show you that automation. All right, and we're gonna have this kind of go at the end of every 4 bars. All right, so we're gonna drag this here.
Crush on you. I got a crush on you.
All right, and then we'll alt drag to the last beat here. If you remember, we had the silence here, so we have to add these elements back in to make it a full bar. All right, now, so this is our drop, so to speak. Now we need another build. We have 4 minutes left. All right, and then we'll do another build. So I'm gonna double click here. I know we're just gonna, this will be a very short song. So we'll do, what is 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. All right. And what we're going to do, actually, we're going to be very sniper about this. All right. So we're going to actually delete this. All right. One bonus feature of having these markers here is I'm going to watch this. This is going to boost so much time. We're going to hit shift, click drop. So now both of them are highlighted. I'm going to hit alt, click, and then drag it. And then we're gonna drag it here, right past it. Oh my God, look at that, it copied everything over. All right, so now we have this. And then we need a build, all right? So what we're just gonna do is we're actually gonna keep this bass. So we're gonna press D, all right? That duplicates it over. We'll keep the shaker out. I actually like that because it gives a little variation, and what we want is like a riser, a sweep into this part, into the silence again. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go sweep, and actually I think we need to go home first. Sweep, woof, we're running out of time, got 3 minutes, gang. And we're gonna go to random. All right, that will work. We are gonna double, yeah, okay, that'll work. And I don't love it, but it'll work because we're running out of time. We're gonna drag that in, and wait, what the fuck? That's not what I want. Sweep up, shit, I'm running out of time. Actually, I'm just gonna do most popular. Yep, okay, we're gonna do that, all right. And drag it over, so it should go to where the silence is here. We're gonna lower the volume to 12.5. Let's hear how that sounds. Still needs to be a little quieter, a little overpowering. And then we want a longer one. Nope, that's a shorter one. What about, what's the, yeah, that's long. Let's try that. All right, and then we're gonna lower this volume to like 20. Sometimes it's good to have multiple sweeps just so it sounds better. Quieter. We don't want the bass going in the silence, so we're gonna drag that out. And
I got a crush on you.
and then we're gonna do a I got a crush on you. So we're gonna drag this back because we want this to be a little bit different than the second one. So drag that. I think we need to drag it over. There we go. And there, and we can actually probably duplicate this because we'll let this drop go a little bit longer. All right, so again, I clicked up here and hit Control drag. I have 30 seconds. And then we are going to end just with the bass and the kicks. All right. And then at the last half, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for the last 4, we're gonna take out the hats. So it sounds like this. Shit. That'll work. All right. And we're gonna double click this, and this will be, drag that over, and this will be our outro. And boom, we have a song. It's a short song, but it's a song. So let's listen to it from the top. And I told you, the goal with this is to just get something done. It's not the most catchy thing, but it is done. All right, so let's listen to it from the top.
I got a crush on you. Crush on you. Crush on you. I got a crush on you. Crush on you. Crush on you. Crush on you. Crush on you.
Boom, there we go. I mean, I'm not mad at it. Like, again, this is nowhere near like anywhere what I would release at this point, but it is technically the structure of a song that is done, right? We have an intro, we have a drop, we have a build, we have another drop, actually a double drop, and then an outro. That's technically a song. It's a short song, 1 minute and 35 seconds. But if you think about it, a lot of songs these days are like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and not much more than that. So you don't need that much to make a song. And yes, it was pretty sparse, right? Somewhat repetitive, but house music a lot of times is repetitive anyway, right? So I hope you were able to follow along with this. I tried to explain everything that I was doing, while also trying to be somewhat efficient within the 30-minute timer. And, you know, we got a song done, and frankly, I'm proud that I was able to do this because I've never actually tried to do this and explain it to people in 30 minutes. So hopefully you got something out of this. And again, I know that you don't, if you don't subscribe to Splice, I know you're not going to have all the samples that I had. But I hope that you were able to at least use your own samples and note that, again, a lot of these things, some of these samples were not the samples that I loved by any means, but they were close enough. They were in the ballpark, and that's what I wanted, right? Like, as long as this is a house kick and it's not like, I don't know, a chill lo-fi kick, right? I just want the ballpark. And so that got me through this, and I hope, and so, you know, if you followed along with me to the best of your ability, that's awesome. I hope that you were able to get like a song from this. But if this is something you decide to do after watching this, then just don't be hard on yourself when it comes to selecting sounds, and don't feel like you have to have 50 tracks. Again, if you're making your first song in Studio One, done is better than perfect. And honestly, like it's honestly better to start with songs that have very few tracks, and then as you get better and as you stay persistent, you keep adding tracks over time to those new songs that you put out. And that's a lot less pressure than trying to build your first song that has 75 tracks or something crazy. So anyway, I hope this was useful for you. I tried to use I did use all stock plugins. I know that I went a little advanced, like with this automation that was going on here. But you know, I guess it's better just to expose you to it, just so you have an idea on the kinds of, because that's a very common technique in this kind of music and a lot of other types of music. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this, if you thought this was useful. And hopefully, again, this helped you to create your first track in Studio One. And yeah, I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.